And we are live.
Yay! Hey, yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Matt, how's it going? Matt asked me to wish you a happy Bright Hammerversary.
Oh, that's coming up on February 21st.
Oh,
didn't realize
nice.
That, right?
Nice, yes.
So I guess it'll come up during the cast if we talk about like OGL stuff.
Oh, good, good.
Small publishing. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing something. I don't know what.
Do a special gold foil edition or something.
Well, the thing is, like, as much as I want to do a physical edition, nobody prints A7 books.
Oh, right.
Let alone A7 books that are 8 pages.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, that's true.
here's your 8-page foil book, right? Like, it's not that attractive. That's why I've been having trouble thinking of what to do with it, right? Because any kind of, I could expand it, which I think is what I'm going to do, but any expansion kind of feels a little bit cheap because the whole thing was like, it's 3 pages of paper.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, but you got featured on Geek Gamer.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, the solo, solo YouTuber channel. She was using Bright Hammers, the base rules for doing a solo campaign, and yeah, said good things about it.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah,
that was very cool.
I think I commented on it. Said, thanks.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so you're up there with the ranks of
Paizo and WotC,
Forbidden Lands, and I mean, no, everything that she's done really good systems, like used really good systems. So that's a
excellent
big compliment. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So today was supposed to be the day we were supposed to. It was the leak said January 13th. Yeah,
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Activate. OGL 1.1 activate. And
no, I'm imagining all these robots combining. Sorry, yeah.
And WotC has canceled. They're going to cancel their big day.
Right. Okay.
But it was nice. We got, but Paizo stepped up, and they woke the golem, I think, at Paizo, and we're gonna.
What is that golem made out of anyway? Pie.
We're gonna get another the orc. It's going to be the year of the orc. The orc.
So.
Yeah. So there was going to be another gaming license that is going to be system agnostic and not owned by anybody that is making a profit.
Right.
Making RPGs. So I think there's some really good ideas there. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Ooh, nice.
In the cast, but so I had some stuff lined up, but I think it's going to get all kind of knocked away because there's just so much OGL news.
Stuff. Yeah.
And I even saw there were people, there were channels that were doing the watch party until so they probably had to just stop streaming. But there were people that were like, we're waiting until
hour 24. We're still watching and nothing's happened. Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of like we even kind of did one, right? Like I saw you released our rant / discussion, you know, which I mean, okay. I think the nature of the internet and social media is people are talking about this thing. There's a lot of buzz about it.
Right.
We got to not we, but like the royal we have to capitalize on it as well by doing something kind of as quick as possible.
Yeah, and I noticed too that people like I separated that out and put it out as a separate video so people don't watch the live stream. It's like there's an audience that watches the live stream and then there's an audience that watches the videos that come up. So I lose us subscribers every time I do that. So Melanie, come back. You know you want to come back.
There's be more politics.
But and they don't understand our dynamic. Bad take, good take. It's kind of
it's like take. I don't know.
But so it's a funny thing, but there's so much, and it's not even like YouTube and the RPG community. It's
gotten into like forums.
And stuff Vice, like and there's so many people doing articles now that are just talking about what have they done, what have they stepped into.
Like I think we've talked about this before, but I realize for those larger publications or larger media things, you obviously have an audience that is not gamers,
right?
And so you have to talk about it in a way that people are going to explain. And I hate the word normie, so I'm not going to use it. But reading some of those articles, I'm just like, this is written by someone who doesn't know anything about the hobby, which isn't a requirement. But actually, in this case, I think people that would be more knowledgeable to talk about it would be lawyers.
Right.
In this instance, right?
But that's pretty boring. There's been some live streams and videos with lawyers, and it's just like, okay, great. I mean, that
I didn't mean make it boring, right?
That whole world is just like, that's how you make your living, huh? Great.
Well, there's a reason people need an escapism fantasy, right? For some people, it's drugs. For other people, it's like role-playing games, right? Yeah, that's why. Hey, I got a great courtroom drama. I'm sure people would be like, no. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a real interesting time. I think it's fun to see them screw up before they've even released a rule set. Yeah,
it is.
It's just amazing that
I won't lie. I'm enjoying watching WotC and this up.
And I wonder what they're going to do. I mean, the wording when we get to Paizo's release, what they the statement that they put out, it's worded so well, and it's so you can feel the passion and the love of the games and the industry and everything.
Or
yes.
They knew exactly what to say to keep.
You're right. Yeah, just say the opposite of what WotC would say. But I don't think WotC's in a good position to be the good guy in this. They're going to look bad.
Ever been the fucking good
yeah, but you know, but even in their like FAQs and stuff, they try to soften it and be like, you know, golly gosh, and you know, we're just
gee willikers, we didn't mean to screw up this bad.
So I'm curious how they're going to backpedal from this. But this is kind of what happens when, you know, you become the biggest thing, and there's actually, you know, there's money involved now. They're getting so much exposure with, you know, Netflix and all the celebrity
D&D TV show coming soon.
Right. And yeah, they got their feature film coming out. So, you know, this is bringing them a lot of attention, and then to make this move to try to capitalize on that, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know if I should save it for the actual live stream,
yes.
but I don't necessarily. I mean, okay, I don't think they don't care, but D&D has well become a lifestyle brand to the point where I think they can piss off gamers,
right?
Because they have other revenue streams,
yeah,
right, coming in from the IP,
T-shirts.
merch, movies,
yeah, right, yeah,
TV shows, video games, right?
Yeah.
So like people who know D&D maybe have even played, but aren't designers or creators. Like I've been seeing people on Twitter going, talked about the OGL with my gaming group. They knew fuck all, right? They didn't know anything about it. And not as a negative, just maybe it's starting to reach the wider audience, but will the wider audience care? I don't make stuff, whatever, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And it's similar to the DC talks about that, the licensing for the logos like Superman, Batman, those T-shirts and merchandise that have those iconic superhero logos make more money than comic books ever will. Right. So they don't even have to print the comic books. They just have to, you know, the comic books have to exist in this way to justify, you know, having a Superman T-shirt.
Like,
yeah.
Well,
there was
suppose,
a thing. Yeah, there was a thing.
I wonder if they could continue to reprint old. Just speculating here. I wonder if they could just reprint old comic books, right?
Yeah, forever.
Because like you said, as long as the things kind of exist, there's a reason for the merchandise and this other stuff to exist, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. And I've even heard theories, people saying that this is, you know, WotC Hasbro just saying, let's burn this down because we're the only ones rich enough to build it back up. So let's just clear the slate, you know, let's get everybody out of here and make it not possible to make money the way that they were making money, see how they struggle to recover, and we're going to launch our VTT and you're going to subscribe. Maybe. So that would be pretty sinister. But that's
be pretty interesting to actually see what came out of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If they did Scorched Earth and just like, okay, let's see what grows after we've, you know, burnt everything to cinders. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Oh, Matt was saying Legal Eagle is doing a video on it. It's proof that it's a big deal. Oh yeah. So there's a legal channel.
Oh yeah. The OGL stuff is a big deal, right? And it's starting to become an even bigger deal in non-TTRPG circles.
Yeah, and I wonder how this is going to inform how other companies like handle their IPs and stuff. If they realize, okay, we can't overstep, we gotta, because
I don't know, because I mean, like, this is, maybe we could talk about like the OGL, right? Like this is for people that are not part of the company to make stuff usable with a product. And okay, I'll say it right now. The OGL wasn't all that great. It was just an agreement by WotC to say you can use this stuff that gets close to copyright, and we promise not to sue you. That's all the OGL was, and then all these extra specifications about how you can use their stuff.
Right.
For companies, unless a company has people, fans making content for their IP, I don't think this is going to matter.
Yeah. And I think, I think Paizo even mentioned, like, basically they went with this just to say, if we're going to build a company on this, we don't want to have the threat of lawsuit. If you're just an independent creator that's doing some stuff on the DMs Guild, you make $30 a month. Right. It doesn't matter if that suddenly goes away. You can kind of shift over to another system and kind of rebuild, and it's not going to take you, the kind of time, and you're not risking, your employees, living and everything, doing something like that. So yeah, we'll see what. It's such a weird
interesting
year,
time.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to have this happen. I don't like the fact that it's kind of eclipsed everything. So I was trying to find something else to talk about. And
there's nothing.
And a lot of stuff that comes up. Now there's big question marks. Like there's a Talislanta backer, the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, and it's just like they included 5e stats. It's like, do we really want that? I mean, it's odd, and people have even said that because print has a long lead time. The production takes a while, so there's stuff that's in process that until OGL is kind of resolved itself, or these companies have made their deals with WotC. Separately. And they've got stuff like coming, they're going to have stuff on pallets coming out of China that they're going to need to just do something with.
Feed right into the shredder.
It's like,
possibly. Okay, and that would
just push that right into the sea. We don't need to worry. Yeah, so we'll see. Well, let's try to do this. Let's try to keep it together here.
Keep it together.
All right. Okay. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly...
Would you just call it the OGL?
Yeah, the OGL Special Edition. Yes.
From now...
So you'll notice, a lot
into perpetuity.
It may be a while until we stop talking about this. Yeah. The first thing I'm going to try to talk about is the future of 3D printing miniatures. And some good authorities talking about that. Talislanta Epic Edition. Fat Goblin's F CKWOTC bundle.
I saw that. Yes. Yeah.
Hashtag OpenDnD open letter.
Okay.
So here's a theme. The theme is starting to develop. Basic Fantasy OGL excised. So they're going to take Basic Fantasy and remove everything, which is quite a process. The big gold book of Basic Roleplay, 99 cents, just in case you're looking for an alternative system. Apropos to nothing. And Paizo announces Orc.
Open role-playing content?
Yes. But we'll get to the license. There's a license that's not in there. The creative license, I think, or something. Something like that.
So it should actually be like Oracle.
But that's just it's the year of the orc. All right. So first, let's talk about something that will have an effect on tabletop, but it's not quite there yet. And so a couple of authorities kind of in this industry were interviewed. So Alex Ziff, the CEO of MyMiniFactory, and Matt Wilson, the chief creative director at Privateer Press. So talking about in this creative space, like what's happening. So there's been amazing developments with 3D printing, but it still seems like it's about 5 years away before anybody can just push a button and get a miniature. Things aren't standardized enough. There's a lot of tinkering. There's a lot of kind of caustic chemicals and things you're dealing with. So there needs to be some steps to make it more user-friendly, more home, home use friendly.
Right. They're not VCR stuff yet.
Right. Yeah. So this is a great interview, and I probably should go into this like separately. I think a separate video would be nice to kind of discuss this. But some of the things they were talking about is the threat. Of course, this opens up the threat to IP rights. So we're going to have to resolve how to do that. Like once you have a digital file that's out there in the wild, and that's what a lot of people doing miniatures on Kickstarter said, we'll print these ourselves and send them to you. We won't give you the STLs, and people want the STLs, but it's out there in the wild. It is everywhere.
Well, it's kind of like any digital file, right?
Right. Okay. So it loses its value, and it's really hard to control. And also, Ziff was talking about the meta reverse, which we talked about, I think, a year or so ago. That's their philosophy and why they bought the British company that actually does fulfillment of physical 3D printed miniatures. Is not there's a really great quote about. So we'd love to see a hybridization of these art forms, so the physical and the digital renaissance and the physical, seeing tech truly augment labor rather than a shiny, fragile paradigm eclipsing a tried and true one.
Ooh, okay.
So we already have these channels and fulfillment of physical goods and things, and we need digital technologies to serve that as opposed to supplant them, but not really have a model and like we're saying, have no value. Once things are in the digital realm, they have no value and can just be traded endlessly, infinitely.
I know a number of crypto bros who would disagree with you. And I know those crypto bros not by choice, right? Anyway.
Not by choice. But I think that there's some really good points that they both make. And talking about contractual agreements that lock artists, painters, and writers out of control over their creations. So they hate to see that, and so they want creators to go on being known as long as their work is visible. So talking about how people can get, because there's so much great 3D work going on now for miniatures, and it's even outclassing a lot of the stuff that's being done by the big, war game companies, the big miniatures companies, in a lot of ways. So there has to be a way to kind of level that playing field and get them the attention and recognition for that work. And what was the other?
I think like right now the leveler is access to 3D printer, or access to a way to use it. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and Wilson was saying from Privateer Press that we see a lot of misconceptions about the labor intensity of modern 3D printing. People watch videos about how easy it is. They get the impression that you're just loading a program and pushing a button, but it ends up, like we're talking about, being much more involved and much more. You have to, be gloved up and handle, fumes and things.
Do you?
Well, you don't. But if you like rashes and coughing, but so it's not quite there. But yeah, they're saying
it wasn't until it wasn't until like I watched, because you printed some stuff for me. And it wasn't until I watched later on like a video of like how a resin printer actually works. I went, oh, you actually have like an open top chamber on this thing that you got to like pour the liquid resin into, and then it just kind of like, slowly hardens the layers and stuff. And then I'm like, and then how do you scrape the extra liquid resin off? And then you got to put it into this bath of chemical. And it's like, okay. They're as easy as it is. There are still not hurdles, but there's still things to think about, right? It isn't just loading a program and pushing a button and having something pop out yet. Like it is pretty time intensive. So.
Right, and the formats aren't. It's not standardized, so there's a lot of tweaking that you can do, and people get really granular with it and want perfect layer height, so they have the minimal amount of visibility between the layers and things. Yeah, so the quality varies wildly. If you don't pay attention to that, you get much less.
Well, we're kind of like any new technology. We're in the Wild West version of it, right?
Right.
What I hope doesn't happen is some kind of tyrannical universal standard. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it would help. It would help, people be able to create. And right now, because so many of the big companies are based in China, you get cheap access to, new kind of versions of things, but a lot of the components are cheap, so you're having to do a lot of DIY and a lot of your own repair, replacing LCD screens and things to so you can even see what's going on with the printer when things fail. So we'll see, but I hope it is good companies that do step up to support this and bring it to people in a more usable way, but you never know.
I think, like you said, we're probably about still 5 years till out for it being much more widely adopted.
Yeah, and hopefully Hasbro won't have anything to do with it.
Digital rights management.
Right. Yeah, don't push that button. It'll be a fingerprint recognition every time you push the button on the printer.
Facial recognition. Then we'll just sell it to police companies.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, so Talislanta.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Talislanta is back. The Epic tabletop role-playing game is on GameFound right now. Okay. So Everything Epic is the company, and they've produced a lot of licensed IP board games and things. It looks like they do some nice glossy work. Physically, I've never seen any of their things, but they have a lot of examples of stuff they've produced. So after 35 years, they're bringing back the original rule set for Talislanta. So it's had a few versions, several versions, and kind of moved around between rights holders. A lot of people might be familiar with 3rd edition. This is going to be the 1st edition rules, and instead of and a very kind of deluxe, gorgeous version, they're calling the Epic Edition. So it's going to be gorgeous color illustration, not black and white, and it's necessary to kind of do that because the world is so different. It's still fantasy, but that's not elves, dwarves, and orcs kind of recognizably. There's a lot of archetypes and monsters and things that are very original to the setting, and so having these things illustrated well gives you some really it helps you, I think, immerse you in that world that in 35 years ago there wasn't the really ability to do. You were printing black and white, black and white line art. I mean, you had a nice cover. There were really gorgeous covers on a lot of these books, but interior there was just nothing.
Sometimes that can be kind of charming, but.
Yeah, so we're going to get a player's handbook, a new atlas with illustrations, new equipment, weapons, new archetypes, monsters, and it's going to be a limited print run. So this is not going to retail. This is going to kind of be the ultimate epic version of the 1.0 rule, the first edition rules. And it looks pretty good. The only thing that I kind of question about it is the price. It's pretty expensive.
Well, I mean, come on. What is it, like $1,000? We talking like Hasbro money here, or like reasonable?
Right. Yeah, well, it's I mean, to get, so it's a little funny just to get in for the digital versions. You're already in for the player's handbook. It's $25 for the PDF. And I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, you put a lot of work. I mean, they have to pay for all the work and the illustration and the work that they did. All 3 PDFs are $60 or $70 basically. Just the physical core rule book is $70, but you get a custom
Careful with that gesture.
Commemorative. A commemorative.
There you go.
A commemorative, I think, gold-colored Talislanta D20.
Okay.
There you go. It's part of
not that page number is all that important to me. What kind of page count are we looking at? Because $70 for a single hardback book is not outrageous, but it's still up there.
Yeah, I'm sure they said on the page. I don't have the details right here about how.
I would expect like a 300.
Yeah, probably. If because it is. I mean, basically they're adding. Well, and that's one of the things that's being added is 5e stat lines for everything. So all the monsters and everything. Yeah, everything that they're mentioning. So this is the Epic Edition. So the first version of the classic rules in full color, updated with artwork, and they're also including 5e in everything.
No, okay. I was really just $70 for a hardback book is still up there.
Yes. And you haven't even had it shipped yet. So
to Japan? No, thank you.
Yeah, this is the thing that got a little bit disappointing. Right. So yes, so the core book is $70, but you get the commemorative.
Careful.
The commemorative D20.
I don't want to have our comments split in my opinion.
That's right. Yeah. And the adventure player's guide with a slipcase that will hold all 3 books, but will only get you one book. One of those books is $150, and it still gets you a D20.
Well, I mean, okay, the slipcase thing, they're not going to manufacture different size slipcases for people who order one book. So, I mean, it's a little bit silly to go, I have a slipcase for my one book that holds 3, but, I mean, they made it as a set. You're kind of getting an extra.
Yeah. And the Game Master level will get you all 3 books and the slipcase, a DM screen, an art print, the D20 that doesn't make that gesture, and a set of special dice made for this campaign exclusively. That will be $200.
Okay. Yes, high, but not unreasonable. I mean, like, okay, 3 hardcover books, screen, slipcase, dice, $200. Okay, that's
all in kind of
reasonable.
Right. But unfortunately, so Europe and America, kind of reasonable $50 to $70 shipping. Anywhere else in the world, that's another $199.
No, thank you.
So it literally doubles the price.
No.
So I mean,
can't do it.
That's what
can't do it.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with now, and they're probably being very honest with their pricing, and maybe
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, people that they know that if you're going to pay a premium to get this, because it's, if you care about Talislanta and you want to see this deluxe epic edition that's not going to be printed again, you're gonna have to pay for it.
I'm sure I'm sure that printing is not their fault. I mean, like that I'm sure it is. It is not their fault, right? I'm sure they probably did the best they could.
Right.
That's just the state of the world. Like, too many times in the past have companies, we found out after the fact, taken an absolute bath on shipping, so that people now got to be like, sorry, it is what it is. We can't risk losing all the profit we made.
Right. Plus your 25% you got to pay to WOTC.
Yeah. Plus whatever you got to pay to Kickstarter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Kickstarter fees. Yep. Yeah, somebody did a breakdown mentioning the OGL again of a sample Kickstarter that made $1 million, and after production costs, WOTC made more than the creator.
Yeah. Because it's not profit. It's revenue.
Net, it's net revenue. Yeah. So, ouch. That's pretty brutal. But moving on to more OGL talk.
Yeah.
We started off
all
with
OGL
that.
all the time. Yep. It's the new motto.
We have to change out the weekly OGL discussion. So DriveThruRPG had to get in touch with our friends at the wonderful people at Fat Goblin Games and said, hey guys, you know the name of that bundle that you posted?
You might want to change it. Yeah.
And they had some, they made some valid points, Fat Goblin said. And I guess the owner said, I guess I let my frustration get the better of me. And so they'll be removing the bundle or just renaming it. And so now it's called the OGL sale.
It was originally called
Yes.
F asterisk
yes,
CK.
yes. Right. And it's understandable because if all this stuff is going to get taken off, it's very frustrating for these companies, or if they're going to have to go back into old catalogs, which could be hundreds and hundreds of publications, and edit things just to make them or just lose revenue, like lose big pieces of revenue. So but if you'd like to help Fat Goblin Games create and focus on indie and non-OGL games, you can pick up this collection of everything that they've done under the OGL that may or may not be available in this form again. It's a huge amount of stuff. They said they don't even have a total.
They just did everything. Honestly.
Right. So literally, it's like almost a $1,300 value if you bought everything separately, and they're selling it for $65. So everything they did under OGL.
We were talking about this prior to the actual live stream start, and you mentioned a suspicion, or someone mentioned a suspicion that WotC is just doing kind of like a scorched earth, right? So I'm not saying that is or is not the case, but I mean this is not the only OGL sale I've seen.
Oh, right.
Like I've seen other people go, well, we don't really know what's going to happen, so all our OGL stuff is available at a steep discount. So who knows? Maybe WotC is doing like a scorched earth, being like, nope, you guys got to sell all your stuff, and then we'll kind of not be the only game in town. But anyway.
Well, referring specifically to the leaked OGL, one of the I don't have this as a story, but the one of the YouTube channels that had this, they kind of leaked the some of the wording on their live stream originally and kind of started this, and then the Gizmodo article appeared and everything. Some of the wording is really rough in this introduction, just the introduction to the OGL. So WotC was saying, this revised license is intended to protect the D&D brand by reducing creator confusion, preventing bad actors from tarnishing it, and preventing large businesses from profiting off of it without proper checks and balances.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we're just going to kill everything that anybody that's been making money off of this. They come to us, they negotiate a separate deal, and we'll say this is with the christening and the Godfather, and everyone is just getting whacked. So WotC is it seems a little brutal. So that some of that wording in there, they are just we want to we can't have this under-monetized anymore. We need to make this as
profitable
as possible. And so we're still having more reactions. So we have the hashtag OpenDnD, and this is there's a website now, and basically an open letter that is saying Wizards of the Coast wants to dismantle the tabletop industry, and we need to help stop them.
All right, I think I didn't read this. I've read snippets of it, and I think its heart is maybe kind of in the right place. Like the wording and like the tone on this, it's like you are equating the D&D hobby to the entirety of the TTRPG hobby, which is very much not the case. So just slow your roll and don't be like the whole industry is going to. No.
That's a really good point.
The whole industry is not going to fall apart. A large chunk of it's going to fall apart, right? But that's not everything. So
no,
keep stuff separate.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And there is some opportunism kind of coming from this, and these hashtags are being abused and stuff.
I think I already saw people saying, hey, this guy is in no way related to the OpenDnD. Don't send him any kind of donations, whatever. Right. So yay, humanity.
Yeah, right. As soon as there's something that it's it's being mentioned a lot. There's money to be made. So just talking about the end of an era, and WotC intending to completely revoke previous OGL, and it'll choke a vibrant community that flourishes under this original license. And then talking about their 25% royalties when they made $1.3 billion last year, and so some of the things
cutting in, but the end of an era. Maybe that era needs to end.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
sorry,
and it's I keep forgetting how recent this is. How recent the establishment of Paizo, the dominance of Pathfinder, then 5e rising. It's like 2015, right?
Yeah.
That's
and the OGL has been around since 2000.
Right, yeah.
So I think a lot of, maybe we're kind of getting into it, like a lot of the surprise is, it's been like this for 23 years, right? People have kind of assumed it's been like this for so long, it will continue to be like this. And it's just like, sorry, right? It was just 23 years of Hasbro going, yeah, okay, fine. And I bet it was Critical Role and other people, like other things within the past couple of years, I'm going, why are we not making bank on this?
Right. Yeah, and it's the success of Magic the Gathering, I think helped this exist, the open gaming license and everything to exist in this state because they didn't focus on it. But this new refocusing on their 5 core brands and their IPs and everything that Hasbro is kind of commanding being done. I think previously Magic the Gathering was making so much money, WotC, and that's what funded the purchase of D&D, is Magic the Gathering. So I think that helped for a long time, but now they've decided, we're gonna squeeze.
Well, also, like, and maybe we'll talk about more about this later. I keep saying that anyway. The OGL. Even by like admission of its own writers, and like I've seen snippets of the original thing, like in writing and internal discussions, the OGL was never really to protect fans. The OGL was designed so that WotC could kind of shift the risk of making products onto third-party and freelance people and fan content while still maintaining rights over the parts that they wanted to maintain the rights over. And the ideal was to kind of saturate the market basically with D&D-alike things built on this, mechanic base, so that people would associate D&D with TTRPGs, which is exactly what has happened. And now we're at the point where people are like, oh, it's just OGL. And it was like, why? Right? Why do you need the OGL? Why do you have to put it out under this license? And I was having a discussion with people on Twitter today, like some people like in the industry, and I agree with them where it's like the OGL, does kind of protect creators from being sued by large companies, right? It's almost become a brand in and of itself, right? You see that OGL thing and you're like, oh, I know exactly what this is for. I have a large amount of trust in this thing because it's been there for 23 years.
Interesting.
So it's, why do people use the OGL? Because it's like a shortcut a little bit. It's they see customers see that OGL mark and kind of instantly trust the product that's on it.
That's a good point. Yeah, and maybe that's what we'll talk about in a little bit. Maybe that's what Paizo is trying to do, is create another version of that isn't beholden to Hasbro. Yeah, so this OpenDnD open letter at the time that I was reading this had about 15,000. It's probably much more than that signatures by a lot of people in the industry. So we'll see what kind of effect this has. And so the contents, I'll put a link to the actual page and the contents of this letter, and just talking pretty strong language, talking about revoking this 1.1 OGL. Not only is it antithetical to the symbiotic relationship, but it is also un-American. We need a green screen with the flag right now. It splits the adventuring party the OGL has cultivated over 20 years. So yeah, it's just anti-American.
It's also anti-adventuring party. I don't know, like, again, I don't disagree with like the sentiment, and I get that people are kind of like angry and upset, and why wouldn't you be, right? But again, like the wording of that, like this is un-American. You're splitting the party, and this symbiotic relationship. There wasn't a symbiotic relationship. It was a parasymbiotic relationship.
That's true. Right.
And like, why is this only an American value, right? And why is it an adventuring party, right? Like, I get it. Okay, it's D&D. So like, I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of like said that and just like, you didn't need to word it that way.
Yeah. Well, and I think the people that established this OpenGL, that's where they're coming from, and a lot of them are they've made producing this content into a business. They've had successful Kickstarters and things, and they're seeing this as their side hustle being endangered.
As it is, right? Like, I'm not saying it's not being endangered, right? But I'm also saying you didn't have to use the OGL, right? I mean, okay, as I just said, like, it's a safety net, it's a brand, it's a shortcut. So your choice was, as a creator, use this thing that's going to give me kind of instant access and recognizability, or with limiting my options, right? Or do my own. And you chose that side. So it's not exactly like, well, I didn't expect the Jaguar to eat my face when you joined the Jaguar face eating party, right? But I do feel it is a little bit of that, right? You were relying on the goodwill of a company to just maintain this thing, and all of a sudden the company's going, nah, and you're just like, blah, blah, right? You got that shocked Pikachu face, and that was kind of always a possibility. So I'm not happy that people are potentially going to lose income, but this was a possible outcome.
Yeah, so there, but for the grace of Hasbro.
Which Hasbro no longer has any grace. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Yes. So more responses to this situation. Basic Fantasy. So the Basic Fantasy project, which is available for free unless you want a printed version, and then you get it at cost. So a $5.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
5-color softcover. It's a beautiful thing. So they posted a manifesto of sorts as well as a plan, and what they, because of this threat that the OGL 1.1 creates, they decided that they will excise the OGL from Basic Fantasy.
Right. Okay.
So as a kind of a community project, they're going to take a look at, so they need to identify the SRD bits that are spread throughout their rule books and find ways to just kind of surgically pick this out so that they can keep their project running for the way that they want it, for free digitally and at cost print. So work on their current projects is suspended, and they want to first make sure that they can go through and clean up the core rules, and also people that have developed, they want to recognize and make sure everyone that has produced materials for Basic Fantasy, maintains their copyright of their materials, and everything is handled very cleanly. It's going to be a huge project, and they said that they're not saying that this is going to be easy, but they see it as necessary as their kind of next step. And so using a kind of a Creative Commons attribution in the future will be how they'll handle things. And first of all, they say, I'm sorry for everyone that loves this game and hobby as a whole. Thank you for doing this, and I salute this initiative. So I'm sure everyone will be better served without the OGL.
There's a statement I can agree with. That.
Yes, much better served. And another reaction, apropos to nothing, was the Basic Roleplay. So Chaosium entered the fray with their 99-cent sale on their big gold book. Wow. So this is the system, basically the Basic Roleplay total system big fat book that is normally $22, available digitally on DriveThru for 99 cents.
Of which DriveThruRPG gets like half of it.
Yeah, right. So if you're looking for a system to run, Mythic Fantasy or just about anything, because Call of Cthulhu, RuneQuest, everything is running on a version of Basic Fantasy, Pendragon as well, Superworld, and Stormbringer. So they'll keep this price until next week, the 19th of January. And it's a nice chance to pick that up if you've never seen it, and if you want to see kind of the raw rules, not kind of tailored to any specific setting. Right. Now is your chance. And we arrive, last but not least, at Paizo. So Paizo had a big announcement, and we know now that WOTC, in the OGL, it said January 13th. Today is the day this is going to take effect.
To be fair, it's tomorrow in the States.
Oh, that's right.
Well, we're like a day
only
ahead.
A few hours. Yeah,
only a few hours.
A few hours.
Although they are West Coast.
Yes, right. So so about 4 or 5 p.m. here. Yeah, it's going to be the 13th, and so on the 12th. So this is dated the 12th. Paizo released a statement, and they're saying, for the last several weeks, rumors of Wizards of the Coast's new version of the open game license began circulating amongst publishers and social media. Gamers across the world have been asking what Paizo plans to do, and Paizo was kind of quiet about things, and
I think is honestly kind of smart.
Oh yeah,
Pathfinder's not my game, so I'm just kind of like whatever. But I think Paizo kind of did the right thing about he just kind of being quiet and waiting to see what was going to happen, and then finally going, okay, we got to do something.
Yes. Yeah, so that they believe the interpretation of the OGL 1.0 as being intended to be revocable and deauthorized is incorrect, and but they've kind of been anticipating this, and I was surprised because we mentioned before that the second edition of Pathfinder, it still has the OGL in it, but actually they did that kind of just as a legal kind of a little bit of a legal protection, but actually the content of that system removes itself from the SRD and content of Wizards of the Coast, of the OGL as much as possible. So they're very
sorry, but as we discussed, like if anyone if Wizards of the Coast was going to sue anyone for possible copyright infringement, because, okay, you cannot copyright mechanics.
Right.
What you can copyright is how those mechanics are expressed. And there was a really good article by, I think, Kit Walsh, where she had like 2 examples of an invisibility spell. One is just like plain text, fact only. The other is mixed in with like flavor, right? Like, okay, to cast an invisibility spell, like wave your hand, speak the incantation, and I'm not going to do the whole thing, but then like the almost copyrightable version, they named the spell, they sprinkled in like place names, people names, a little bit of like fiction that not encroaches, but that gets close to copyrightable material, right? It's still the instructions for the spell, but someone might go, you know what, that's a little too close to ours, we're going to sue you. And if WotC was going to sue anyone, it would be their biggest competitor, Paizo. So I'm guessing that even if Pathfinder 2nd Edition was removed from the SRD as much as possible, they still included the OGL just to be absolutely sure WotC wasn't going to fucking sue them.
Right. Yeah, because they have so much relying on that. Paizo is such a huge producer of content for Pathfinder and Starfinder. They didn't want to risk that at all. So Paizo owners, Lisa Stevens, and Paizo president Jim Butler were leaders of the Dungeons & Dragons team at Wizards at the time of the creation of this. And Brian Lewis, co-founder of Azura Law, the intellectual property law firm that Paizo uses, was the attorneys at Wizards that came up with the legal framework of the OGL itself. So this is like,
these are people who were there.
Yeah. So they know, they know what they're doing. They're just not we'll just make up our own then.
We're
guys.
talking like the signers of the Declaration of Independence, right? To bring it to like American metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they don't believe that the 1.0 A can be deauthorized, but they're not taking any chances. So basically in this statement they are and so also too, this is where they mentioned the 2nd edition of Pathfinder Wizards of the Coast open game content was significantly less important to us as it was with the 1st edition, because they very quickly they talked about how quickly they had to kind of try to preserve 3.5 and keep that going as 4.0 was.
There's an interesting point right there, but I was apparently wrong, where it says the reason we no longer allow Paizo to use while we still published it under the OGL, the reason was no longer to allow Paizo to use Wizards expressions, but to allow other companies to use our expressions, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of part of the discussion, right? Like the OGL has become almost like a boilerplate, like a standard template, right? Where like other companies are using it probably to not get sued by WotC, but also to allow other people to build content for their game with the agreement that we won't sue you. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So it kind of continues out. Yeah. So we believe, as we always have, the open gaming makes better gaming and improves profitability for all involved, and enriches the community of gamers who participate in this amazing hobby. So that is why they are announcing a new, open, perpetual, irrevocable open RPG creative license.
And like in Magic gameplay terms, those words irrevocable have like important legal definitions, which is like why this whole thing is kind of happening, right?
Yes, yeah. So they're clarifying perpetual and irrevocable. So they want this to exist. So this
that siren just stopped like outside. Maybe the WotC police are on their way.
Could be.
If the stream gets interrupted, you'll know why.
We've been taken off the air. But this ORC, this new system, will be system agnostic for independent game publishers under the legal guidance of Azura Law, an intellectual property law firm that represents Paizo and several other publishers. But so in addition, that would be Cobalt Press, Chaosium, Green Ronin, Legendary Games, Rogue Genius. And so ORC, I think this is very interesting and very important. ORC will not be owned by Paizo, nor will it be owned by any company who makes money publishing RPGs. Azura Law's ownership of the process and stewardship of it will provide a safe harbor against the company being bought or sold, or changing management in the future, attempting to rescind the rights or nullify the section, like happened to WotC.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So ultimately, they plan to fund a nonprofit with a history of open source values to own the license, such as like the Linux Foundation does for the Linux operating system. And so the wording of this, it really sounds like they know what they want to do. They know how they want to separate things. They know how they want to move forward, and they don't even have to care now about what Hasbro is up to and what they're gonna, what kind of shenanigans they're gonna be playing.
I wonder if that's true, because like I think okay, if stuff still uses OGL 1.0, if it does end up being, through whatever reason, that license is revocable and WotC now says you must use 1.0, I think that does leave a question about what happens to Pathfinder and all these other games that were published under the OGL 1.0.
Yeah, but that's going to probably be years to resolve.
Probably.
Legally.
But again, if there's a company with the legal clout and money to do it, it's WotC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Hasbro. So
no, that's true. But hopefully, though, like Orc will be moving forward. Second edition will be reprinted without the OGL, and they can say, okay, fine. That's we won't print that anymore. It's available for free.
Yeah.
So you said non-commercial. You don't take royalties off of non-commercial, so we're not being sued for anything. Right. Yeah. So I thought this was a really interesting move, and I like their wording a lot. It was just very encouraging that they've been thinking about this, and so they said that we hope you will continue to support Paizo and other game publishers in this difficult time for the entire hobby. You can do your part by supporting many companies that provide content under the OGL, and there is a discount code OpenGaming for checkout of sort of 25% off of all the Paizo stuff that is still under OGL. So support Kobold Press, Green Ronin, Legendary Games, all those guys. So they end this by saying, we'll be there at your side. You can count on us not to go back on our word forever. Paizo.
Famous last words. Okay.
Until you're bought by Hasbro.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, okay, like, I'm kind of skeptical about the OGL. And I'm not saying Paizo has any nefarious reasons, but the OGL being a brand and there being like questions about what's going to happen with it, Paizo kind of had to do this, being like, we're going to be the new OGL.
Yeah,
right. So I am kind of skeptical. I'm less skeptical that they've given it to a non-profit. Like, we don't own it, right? We're just kind of helping put it together. Yeah. It's going to be over there. These other people will own it and kind of be stewards of it. So I'm wondering what a completely generic OGL would look like, because you can't. It's either going to be really long to include all the ways that you can or cannot use all of the properties owned by these game companies, or it's going to be very generic.
Right.
I don't know. And I'm going to have to bounce like,
sure.
3 minutes.
Yes.
But I was talking with people online, especially like Rob Donahue, whose name is on a lot of stuff. And have you noticed that there are a lot of SRDs coming out?
Oh, no.
Okay, the system reference document,
yes,
right? So it kind of seems like everybody on their mother is putting out.
This.
Do you know why? It's because I said, okay, why do you need the OGL? Why can't you just do Creative Commons, right? Creative Commons is basically like there's a whole bunch of different licenses, but Creative Commons is kind of like an all or nothing unless you kind of very clearly call out what is not Creative Commons. A way to get around doing that, make an SRD that is completely Creative Commons, and then release your game with the setting and material in it, and just say, okay, these are compatible. If you want to do your own thing, there's your SRD. So that's why a lot of people or a lot of smaller companies now are going, here's your Creative Commons SRD, go to town on it. We don't have to worry about stuff in the actual game being used by people in ways we don't want to.
Oh, interesting. So we'll see this, and this will continue until we get official word from WotC, and
might be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
Or actually, it might be in a couple hours, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we've gotten word already that they've canceled. Like this license is not going into effect. And a lot of people have said it's not open. It's gaming, and it's basically a contract. Because both you have to report to them. There's you have to report revenue. It's like this is a contract. You're working for them basically producing.
I think I saw someone say that a contract gives there's kind of benefits both ways, and the benefit originally was we won't sue you. We promise not to sue you for using this stuff, and in return you can use some of our stuff a little bit, right? But in a lot narrower way than if you just made it on your own. You made it compatible without expressly using our stuff. But anyway.
Yes. So the drama, I'm sure, will continue. So hopefully we'll be back to normal one of these weeks. But I think January is pretty much done. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always. That's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'm just doing all kinds of stuff, mostly pixel art related, as I kind of develop more games that will then get abandoned in a couple weeks. So anyway, how about you?
So I'm doing my single panel gag cartoon, so Abuse Cartoon. So look for that live stream on Twitch and YouTube. And abusecartoons.com is the website for that. And we will be doing a live stream tomorrow.
Yes. Another Oathmark live stream.
Yes.
Yay.
So yeah, about this time, maybe a little bit later this time, but yeah, so we'll be putting together more miniatures from North Star and getting some dwarves ready to face off against some evil elves.
You got to mention there are also evil dwarves.
Oh, the dwarves were probably
there are no good people here. Yep.
Yeah, it would probably be pretty evil all the way around.
Happened when I saw that. Ooh, spiders! Elves can take giant spiders.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
Yes. All right, and if you'd like to support what we're doing with the weekly, please consider becoming a patron, a weakling, as a matter of fact.
The strongest of all supporters.
Yes,
everywhere.
So patreon.com/upturntable, and upturntable.com is the website for everything, and upturntable on all social media to see what we're up to. And so subscribe to this podcast to get it regularly in your RSS feed, and the audio for the whole live stream goes into the Patreon RSS, so you can listen to everything, including the early OGL discussion. Early rants that lose us all of our subscribers.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, and we'll be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right.
Be right back.
Be right back. All right. Sorry, a little bit of silence there to sweeten that audio. So, hey guys, how's it going? It's good to see everybody in the chat. Oh, nice. We got some new people showing up. Oh, hey, Christopher, how's it going? So let me get back to the top. So Matt, as always. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So Christopher Kubley said, yeah, what I was worried about happening is everyone doing their own open source system, Cobalt Press, and now Paizo, D&D. After all this, oh, that's right. Cobalt Press is doing their Black Flag. Yeah, right. It's still going to win because everyone else is going to try. Yeah, that's true. Without some sort of kind of cooperation, no one's going to be big enough, or probably be able to get enough players to compete with whatever one D&D is going to be. Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, now the new 4E winner all over again. Yeah, good point, Christopher. So, Miguel, how's it going? Stop the presses. The issue has been solved, and Wizards has struck down OGL 1.1. It's going to OGL 2.9. Yeah, 2.0. Yeah, that's right. Imagine what 2.0 is going to be. Yeah, interesting. I wonder. It's so funny that they keep. They had a while ago. Wizards had don't worry, we know you have questions that need addressing, and we'll be we'll be here to answer them soon, and they just keep canceling and backing away. Hey, Donald Kelly, how's it going? Got my copy of Blood Bowl in the mail today. Just need to make it through tomorrow before I can crack it open. Oh, nice. Yeah, some Blood Bowl. Is that second edition? That's very cool. Yeah, we keep trying to put together a Blood Bowl league. I think everyone's got teams, but no, we haven't been able to get it organized. We try to always, like every kind of winter, we start thinking about starting a league, and it just doesn't. Everyone's schedules and everything just don't allow it. But yeah, I've got some Black Orcs waiting to take to the field. All right. Yeah, and so Matt was saying, so a lot of great creative systems are out there, and they just get eclipsed by the D&D machine. Yeah, Miguel says, too true, but D&D's defense of the system is very simple and intuitive. Roll a D20 and, add some numbers to get a result. Right. And Christopher said, yeah, you're right, Matt, but having a lot of options, meaning you run into problems that leaves D&D on top. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what becomes an alternative, and what it's kind of like the same thing that people are trying to figure out with Twitter. If they want to leave Twitter, where do you go? Because Twitter is just everybody's on there. Everyone's and now that they gave a bunch of banned accounts back, everyone is on Twitter. So what is the alternative? Yeah, so Christopher says people can play many different splats, and if they all use the same mechanics, systems that you have a chance to compete with D&D. Yeah, I wonder what is going to happen. Matt said they can be on top all they want as long as they don't behave monopolistically. Yeah, this idea of focusing on these core Hasbro, refocusing on these core things and squeezing them, and trying to license, do a TV show and a movie and everything for D&D, it's not gonna go well. Matt said, I argue that BRP and Year Zero are very simple. Yeah, that's true. Very simple and more flexible. Interesting. And Miguel said, talking about Kickstarter, I just backed an Egyptian-themed campaign for D&D that's going to dodge the royalties by an inch. Wow, or actually a week. Wow. Yeah, I really wonder what's going to happen. We're probably going to get some pretty sad stories from people that are trying to fulfill Kickstarters, and then they're going to be, if this 1.1 OGL goes into effect, they're going to be having to negotiate with WotC and lose a big chunk of the revenue that they generated by these Kickstarters. And I really don't want to see, if this all goes through as WotC has planned, watch them keep lowering that threshold. So right now they're stating it's like 750,000. Anything over that, you pay them royalties. I can't wait to see them. Oh, we're not actually making enough, so let's keep lowering that down until we hit that sweet spot where everyone has to pay us something. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh yeah. Yeah, same issue. Yeah, right. When we were talking, yeah, same issue. And I was going to bring that up too. Yeah, Warhammer did that same thing where they overreached and just kind of it cleared out their entire fan fan base that was producing media by and we wouldn't even know, like they probably all signed NDAs, but we didn't even know like what any of those people that removed all of their Warhammer fan animation and stuff from YouTube, we didn't even know what benefit they've had or whatever, but they sure have Warhammer Plus is producing no animation anymore, so it's very crazy. Hey, Abyss, how's it going? Thank you, and thank you for your defense in the comments. We got a bad take the L, unsub comment, and Abyss was there, so thank you so much, Abyss, for sticking up. Yeah, I hate when especially something like PBS is bagging on the OSR, which is basically people just ranking on the flyover. It's going to be people, and this is always my problem with we just can't trust these people. They're too stupid. They're bad actors. They're all have bad intent, and they're usually from not the coasts in America. So I hate that weird kind of culture war that's going on, and that was my suspicion, is that just vilify these people, and the same way that Sony and Amazon use race and gender and everything to do sexism and racism to market their products. I can definitely see Wizards of the Coast saying these OSR troglodytes are not who we are, and we have to pay our subscription and be on a virtual tabletop to be one of the good ones. Yeah, it's brutal. They'll just have to call their I continue with the bad takes. As soon as Chris leaves, the bad takes just start flowing. But they're going to have to call their membership. You have to be an ally, right? An ally of WOTC. And that's the thing that's so frustrating is me saying that they would take that approach. WOTC is not an inclusive company. They're just doing it because they're being forced to. It's just that corporate kind of reflex to keep themselves, to keep being able to call themselves the good guys, the token hires of people and things that we've heard about at WOTC. They're not good people, and the fact that they would obviously that, so because that PBS article smelled like paid promotion is basically where my attitude came from that. But Miguel is saying, that's Hasbro is counting on the lack of money to enter a costly legal fight, and that's what we've heard about Paizo. Is they're not doing great, so this is probably the best approach for them. Just saying, we're gonna do our own thing. And Miguel saying, and the rush to force creators to sign the new agreement before somebody takes it to court. Yeah, that's the thing too, is if you just, I want to keep that revenue going, so I'll agree whatever. A lot of people that are producing content, that's very sure. It's very true. And Abyss is also saying, so in pure panic, all the big D&D channels had to be forced to switch all of their stuff, and now they are suddenly covering everything but D&D. Yeah, I saw that. There's some pretty big channels, like over 100K subscriber channels, that are saying, we're focusing on indie RPGs, we're focusing on systems we haven't talked about before. We know it's going to hurt because we get better views and better ad revenue from talking about D&D, but this is where they want to be. So the Dungeon Craft and a couple other people, they specifically said, we're not going to talk about D&D anymore. And that was my stance until the OGL. Like, I really wanted this year to not talk about Wizards and Games Workshop, but that didn't work out very well. It's been very weird. Matt is saying it's been very weird to witness it all as someone who has been playing D&D since the 80s. Yeah, this is a really, because I kind of missed, I wasn't paying attention when 4th edition came out. I wasn't paying attention to that, so I missed the birth of Paizo and Pathfinder. And so this is interesting to see something like this happening again, kind of a big schism, another Protestant movement happening against the Vatican of Wizards of the Coast. Yes. So, Dorigo, nice to see you in chat. Thanks for stopping by. So when they say, we'll be right back. Yes. So we're doing this on Chris's. So just to explain kind of how we're doing this, if you're new to this live stream or this podcast, Chris comes for the lunch break, only lunchtime. And so I do like a little bit before and after. So we do a little bit of preamble, have a discussion with Chris and I, but then returning to work. So I wrap up things and just kind of then go to the chat and see how you guys were kind of reacting to everything. So yeah, there's a little be right back, and we come back, and then all of this audio goes on the RSS for the Patreon, and we archive this on YouTube and Twitch to listen to. Nice. Very cool. Oh yeah, so a rando complaining. Yeah, it was. It's been a commenter that I think she's been interacting a lot. Like a lot of, it's been fun comments because a lot of pushback when we were talking, when just things come up on the weekly, and so I was surprised. I was surprised that was such a set off. But I'm just really touchy with this. You know, they're all idiots that can't be trusted. When you're trying to make bad actors out of people that aren't, and I think that's what that PBS article was doing. And Matt's got the wrench out. Nice. Oh yeah, go get the wrench. Oh, get the man a wrench. Oh yeah, the Abyss. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Abyss has been showing up. I might have to. I don't know, Matt. There's going to be. We're going to have dueling wrenches though. That might be difficult for Matt. But no, I appreciate that, Abyss, very much. That might be mod worthy. That was very cool. Abyss says I cannot handle the power. Already evil. Nice. Miguel says hush before I force you to sign the OSL. Oh man. Oh, interesting. Abyss is saying the dungeon dudes were forced to release a statement and they look like they witnessed a murder. I had no idea how to handle it. Pro or anti OGL? Oh yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see everyone's reaction, and yeah, it's funny because I think people with this kind of new popularity of 5e, or this peak popularity of 5e, it's funny that people have this idea. Oh, this is how it's always been, and they forget, the reason that Pathfinder exists and all that stuff. So yeah, we're seeing it again, and we're seeing, without even releasing a game that nobody wants to play, we're seeing a company like completely screw themselves. Yeah, Critical Role is being very quiet, but they have the ability to negotiate separately, as does Paizo. So that's why I think that it says a lot about them that they're not going to do that. They're not just going to be quiet and then behind the scenes negotiate a kind of a sweetheart deal with Wizards to not, suffer the same kind of royalty payments as smaller creators and studios. So yeah, it's I don't know. Critical Role though. Yeah, I don't know if they're offered enough, a sweet enough deal, and I don't know access. I don't know what kind of access or benefits they could possibly have, but because they've already established themselves and their fan base and everything so completely, I don't know if there's anything that Wizards could do for them that they couldn't do for themselves. I mean, they have an Amazon deal for an animated series and stuff. Yeah, so we will see. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Miguel said, yeah, you can't blame Critical Role for not showing their hand. Yeah, I think it's until people even know, what's going on, or companies know what they're going to be able to do. Like we heard about Kickstarter already talking to Wizards of the Coast and giving people a sweeter deal if they, a sweeter royalty deal, a break on royalties if they go with Kickstarter as opposed to GameFound or anything else. So, yeah, I don't know. Oh, let's see. Oh, so Abyss was saying, the Dungeon Dudes. Oh, so I guess that's a channel. Sorry. Yeah, 300K channel. So that pushes off D&D tier stuff and made a 5e setting on Kickstarter. Ooh, and they got backed with like $1 million, and all of that is up in the air. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Abyss was saying that. So yeah, Critical Role are definitely company people. Yeah, it's it's professional people. It's like professional voice actors and stuff, and they want access, whatever's getting them access to celebrities and stuff. If that was WotC or Hasbro, they probably don't want to screw that up. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder what we're gonna see, and how that's gonna because I think people that are new to the hobby and came to it by because of Critical Role, I don't think they're going to have the same reactions that a lot of other people in the industry are. So yeah, we'll see even a more maybe a more of a schism, not between, you know, kind of old school, not between like OSR and newer players, but, you know, a separation between newer players, or people that are concerned about the game and concerned about making content for the game, and people that are just fans, you know, people that came at it because they like the stuff that's going on online, and they like cosplaying and buying custom dice and stuff. I don't know. Oh, that's the one. This just occurred to me thinking, saying custom dice. I wonder how this is going to affect, or if there is. So Etsy producers. So, you know, so many people are making so many accessories and things to support role playing, and there's a little bit of controversy recently. WotC sent out these kits or whatever to influencers that had designs that looked like they were ripped off of some of the Etsy businesses, some of the businesses on Etsy that support, you know, making DM screens and coasters that are also dice, you know, dice holders or whatever. So it looked like they ripped off a couple of those designs and sent them out as you know, some kind of promotional thing to influencers. But I wonder what's going to happen with that space as well, because they mentioned that that's all separate, that the OGL is basically talking about printed thing, you know, the 1.1 is talking about things that are printed. So videos and songs and pantomime and cosplay and everything else is separate, and so that has to be negotiated separately. So this isn't even talking about that yet. So I wonder if we're going to see a clamp down on that sort of thing, because there is, you know, so many people making custom dice and all kinds of, you know, dice towers and accessories and things. And if there is some way for WotC to say, you know, you can't do, if you're putting a dragon ampersand or something on, you know, if you're doing something that is relating to things that they feel are their copyright or trademark. I wonder if they're going to start making moves in that space as well, because we know that that's a huge area for people to make money from the hobby that has nothing to do with making settings and rules and things. So we'll see. Oh, interesting. Miguel said, yeah, Critical Role may have been aware of this issue for some time, so they may be structuring and figuring out. They maybe have already figured out what to do, and they're waiting to see when they're going to announce it. Yeah, they said that too with Paizo, that Paizo is kind of known that this was going to be happening for a while, so they've been planning their orc for a while. It's crazy. So Dugo says, I don't think Mercer is okay with this at all. Yeah, I wonder, like what the effect, and you know, because they are making easily the most money from D&D things, so they would actually, you know, they'd be one of the highest royalty payments. So unless they can negotiate a better deal, but any deal is going to kind of suck because it's money that they didn't have to pay before. So yeah, it's gonna, the growth of their own company. I forget what the Critical Role's company is, but that growth of that company is going to be hurt a little bit by now having to pay a piece, and without any huge benefit. Like nothing is going to change for them except they're paying royalties now. So yeah, and Miguel's saying, and that's the kind of the only thing left in their campaign that buzzards can clearly claim. Oh, interesting. The current campaign is a D&D. It has D&D trademarked gods, is what Miguel was saying. Interesting. Yeah, it is really interesting times, Abyss. I'm curious what happens. Yeah, well, and we'll see. And we'll see how tired people get of of our bad takes on OGL and how much of this. It's so hard to talk about anything else, because even things that, you know, like current projects that are being produced, or things are going to be influenced by this, and we don't know what that effect is. So yeah, it's and like Chris was saying in our original discussion, I don't care this, you know, I would never produce anything for 5e. It doesn't affect me, but yeah, it's amazing to see that it's reaching mainstream media and that it's having such a big effect, because it's a huge company making some weird moves that I don't think it's not going to do them any favors. But you know, people may forget very quickly when, after this happens and after there's some readjustment, people may forget very quickly. Miguel's saying probably they will lose that fight. They will sidestep it nicely by using Etsy as a cat's paw. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, YouTube Shorts. That's something we have to probably start doing for the channel. Because I just had to accept the terms for monetization for Shorts, and we don't have any Shorts on the channel. So I'm sure I can lose more subscribers by cutting little pieces out of our discussions. Oh man, yeah, YouTube Shorts might be a good. Yeah, I wonder if there's a and maybe Chris and I will talk about that tomorrow on the live stream. If there's a good way to do Shorts that will something that supports the channel and kind of makes sense. I'm not sure. Yeah, there might be something. Yes, Matt says we shall build on top of the bones of WotC. Nice. Miguel saying actually I just heard that Wizards might be betting on on the big storm to go away earlier today before implementing the OGL. Dorigo, yeah, exactly. That's I agree with you very much too. Like channels that I like, and I see there's a new video, and then it's just like a 30-second short. Yeah, those things are polluting, and I don't think YouTube does a good job of kind of separating that, because it's just they're trying to do their own version of TikTok or Reels or whatever, and it kind of pollutes the because I like longer form stuff, just to put on in the background. And so it's very frustrating when you a channel that you like and they've just made a short, just a few seconds short out of something that happened on a live stream or something, and then it's really annoying how those things are kind of overlapping. It should be a different platform, but I agree. Shorts is probably not gonna do us any good. I don't know why they're pushing that so hard. YouTube is just as confused as everybody else. Yeah, they really do. They make YouTube, not the apps and things, not very functional, because they're just always popping up, and there's always that. And it's just weird too, because it really trashes up the shorts and stuff they recommend. There's some really trashy stuff, some really weird, like underage, just like TikTok. It's underage girls dancing and stuff, and like, why is this here in the middle of my hobby channel recommendations? Yeah, but getting so many, just OGL stuff. I guess I watched a few videos immediately, and then just everything now is OGL. Everyone's discussion. Yeah, and most shorts are old material. Yeah, right. So very annoying. Yeah, I wonder if there is a way for that to be, I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird. And something where it's obviously separate, but that's not how YouTube works, though. They don't identify it so clearly. When you get notifications of new content, it doesn't, you can kind of tell maybe from the thumbnail or whatever that it's not formatted. It's formatted as a short. I don't know, but like little 360s of miniatures and stuff might be fun. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to pollute the channel in that way. But YouTube really wants you to monetize your shorts. So I guess Chris will be doing a lot more dancing for the channel. I mean, basically. So submit your your requests. Yeah, I think Chris will start with the Megan dance. I think that'll have to help us out to the viral, get this channel more viral. Yeah, it's really true. There has to be like a good reason to do it, and I don't think because there's a lot of comedians and stuff like just put little like single jokes and stuff of their stand up, and it's just so annoying when you want to watch their podcast or see longer stand up sets or whatever. It's just weird. They have these like little single few second things. Migo said, I'm going to make my own RPG system that works. Yes. On Twitter faves. Very good. Yeah, we should play an entire campaign that we're just going to do as shorts. So every die roll and everything will just be a separate YouTube short that you have to watch. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, there's got to be some function for that, but I think it is. I'm glad to get your guys' feedback on that, because I think you're right. It is going to be just very polluting. But we'll talk about that on the live stream tomorrow. So yeah, so why don't you guys stop by then? So about this same time, I think we'll start a little bit. We'll start about this time, actually, about 2:00 Japan time. So around this time tomorrow, whatever that is where you are, Chris and I will do some more miniature assembly and put together our kind of decide units and put together our first step of the Oathmark campaign and start building the kingdoms out. I got to print those kingdom sheets out and start establishing elves versus dwarves and see how see how ugly it's gonna get. But yeah, so that will be tomorrow. That would be good. Sounds like an abomination. Abyss is saying yes. Oh man. All right. So yeah, it'll be good. Tune in then, and thank you everyone for listening. And so and if you're listening on the patron RSS feed, thank you so much for supporting us and what we're doing, and I hope you can enjoy enjoy all this OGL discussion, and it'll just keep developing. I mean, as the situation develops and as we start to hear. So we've heard now from Chaosium. I think Goblin Games had a statement. I should have put together everything, but most people like Goblin Games were saying, don't worry. You know, a lot of people just put out statements. Everything's cool. We're this isn't going to hurt us at all. Don't worry. Nothing is endangered as far as what we've been developing. So that was good to hear in a lot of cases. And then we've heard the Black Flag, Cobalt Press, Black Flag playtesting, and then the Orc system neutral open game license. So all that stuff, is developing, and we'll see what the WOTC response is. Who even wants to celebrate the 50th anniversary now of something owned by Hasbro? Great. Roll for pronoun attack, you guys. I cast inclusivity. Oh no. It is going to be completely based on that. Yeah. Oh, Miguel, you're. I guess your character class will have to be bad actor, right? It's a. There won't be alignments. You'll just have to decide if you're good or bad actors. Nice. All right. Well, you guys take care, and thanks as usual for joining us. And we'll be back tomorrow with some miniature assembly, and hopefully I'll get the turntable going so you can see some 360s in the corner. Hopefully we can set that up. I don't know, that the frame is pretty crowded, but we'll do a long form. Maybe you can watch us eat pizza again or something. But we'll do a long form live stream, so a few hours, and see you then. So thanks as always, and good to see everyone in the chat, and newcomers, welcome, and enjoy the lively chat. I always appreciate you guys doing that. Everything. Oh no, midnight East Coast. Oh, that's right, East Coast time, midnight. Oh, sorry, Dorigo. The it's not easy. Yeah, we always have difficulty kind of finding a good sweet spot between EU. Australia is okay. They're just like an hour off, I think, from Japan time. But the U.S., North America gets hit pretty bad with our schedule. So take care, everyone, and we'll do this again next week. And see you tomorrow. Goodbye.